Hi, everybody. Denise with Divine Soul Astrology. Hope you guys are all well. Today, I'm here to talk about the Taurus full moon, which is really today, November the 5th. And here in the States, at least on the West Coast, it was at 5:19 a.m. All right, so check for your own time around the world, because for some of you guys, it'll be the next day. Yeah, and so that is when it is peaking, and this is a super moon, so it's even more powerful, right? It's closer to the Earth, and also this full moon is typically, not all the time, but most of the time, a culmination of what we were doing, planning, thinking about, planting seeds with the new moon in Taurus, or either earlier in this year, it could have been last year as well, right? It just depends, right? Sometimes we have these 18-month, a year and a half cycles with the moon. Yeah, we do. Um, so think back to what you were doing. We had the Taurus new moon, and we had that in the spring, right near the times of the eclipses. Yeah, we did. So, yeah, check that out. That even could have been possibly an eclipse. That's a possibility there. But yeah, and so what is Taurus about? Taurus is an earth sign, and it is about our comfort, our possessions, anything earthly that is sustaining us, right? That is helping us to feel more comfortable and stable, right? When you're making good money, it is about the money that we earn as well, right? So when we're making good money, we feel better. So it is about our self-esteem, and our relationship with money, the money that we earn. And that's why it is about our resources and kind of digging deep, or, using our own resources, which can be our own resources. I don't necessarily mean money, right? Our resources are our courage, our, being resourceful, right? Seeing opportunities and things like that, or acting on them, possibility too. But, Taurus is a feminine sign. It is a yin sign. Yeah, the water signs are yin. So this is about receiving. And it's also about like things that happen to us inward, right? Revelations. And that's what the full moon can bring, revelations. And what does that mean? It means insights that we couldn't see before. Sometimes it will bring secrets out. Those are revelations as well. And things that are peaking the full moon, right? Things that are culminating, as I was, talking a little earlier, um, yeah, about the full moon itself, right? And the culmination of something that could have happened with the new moon or is related to that, right? And so when we have the full moon, each full moon is always in opposition. What does that mean in opposition? It can mean that we kind of blame sometimes. We're blaming something in the universe, but it is two opposing forces, energies that really should be merged in order to make something, in order to bring something to its finest, sort of, or sometimes, yeah, to bring things, not always to fruition, but to make the best of the situation, right? And so the full moon is always in opposition. And what is it opposing? It's opposing its opposite sign, Scorpio. So the full moon is also about Scorpio energy, right? The opposite sign, and merging those. And the sun is in Scorpio, so merging the masculine energy with the feminine energy. And Taurus is also, it's a money sign, so is Scorpio. Yeah, it is. And so that is their opposite signs, but they have something similar. They do. And they can help one another, right? They definitely can when we are merging the energies of basically the divine feminine and the divine masculine. Yeah, and so Taurus is a fixed sign as well, as is Scorpio. So it can make, there can be like kind of because Taurus is seeking stability, financial stability. It represents the second house of finances, well-being, right? In terms of our resources and what we have made for ourselves, things like that. Um, yeah, our comfort, and this is where Venus comes in. So Venus is the ruler of Taurus. It's also the ruler of Libra. And so, right, there's dual rulership there. And Libra is the seventh house of relationships. So Venus is actually in Libra. Yeah, that is very interesting, right? So there's a lot of Venusian energy here, as in Venus. So this will be about relationships too. Venus is about relationships. It's about, love and beauty. That is from the Libran side. But from the Taurus side, Venus is about the comforts that we have in our life and the money that we have to sustain us, right? Because Taurus is always seeking stability. It is the second house. So that is very important, right? For Taurians, yeah. And since it is a fixed sign, as is Scorpio, this can talk about some, being stubborn. Taurus doesn't like change. The full moon will bring some type of change, yeah. But since this is a yin full moon, this can be inward, right? Water signs are of the yin energy. And so this can be inward about our intuition, about what's really important to our own foundation inwardly. um, yeah, and so the opposite of if we had a full moon and a fire sign, which is about taking action, it is about creating and getting out there, or it's very action oriented, right? And where the yin is more receptive. Yeah, so receptive and intuitive and imaginative. So we could have this is about receiving. It's about receiving insights, and it can be, right, not the only thing, of course, right? So we see the full moon behind us. This is right by my house. No, not really. And but yeah, let's move this out of the way, this pointer. And so yeah, and so, in Taurus, we're not in Taurus season, but the full moon is about Taurus. And this is telling us to slow down. Taurus is a slow sign. It doesn't like change. Slow and steady wins the race. This is kind of Taurus. So here we have, this is about material comfort, basic needs as well, right? Because it's about our financial stability, basic needs, and, slowing down. The full moon is going to invite us to slow down, ground ourselves. Taurus is an earth sign. It is about grounding, right? We talked about the stability, invites us to ground ourselves in the present moment. Yeah. And so, yeah, I talked about the Taurus Scorpio axis, which is always important at the time of the full moon. So there could be a call to balance our material values with our higher values, our integrity, right? And these fixed signs will feel this most, which are Scorpio, Taurus, Aquarius, and Leo. Those are the fixed signs. Yeah. And so, this full moon could be asking us, are we enjoying our possessions or our material comfort, or have they become kind of a ball and chain on our ankle, right? That is the question. It can be the question here when we have the full moon. The full moon can illuminate things for us, wake us up to things that we were kind of asleep to in the past. Yeah. And so this is our finances balanced with our true priorities. So, Taurus is about our values as well, right? Values and our self-esteem. So we can see the connection there, right? Venus wants us to understand our true values. Yeah, and Venus wants us to have financial stability, balance, and peace in our life, right? And that is the Venus is about, as it rules Libra. So, we have Libra energy here too. And as I mentioned, Venus is in Libra right now. Yeah, so the full moon energy is about abundance and stability, and it is, as I mentioned, being opposed by Scorpio. Scorpio wants us to understand. Scorpio wants us to use our intuition. It wants us to see what's underneath, that sometimes we are so, busy with life and things like that, that we can't really see. It is about psychic insights. It's a very psychological house or sign. And so that's what Scorpio wants us to see. That's where we have this axis going on, right? hmm Yeah, and Venus is about how we give and we receive love, how we see ourselves as well because of the self-esteem aspect here. It's also about what brings us joy and satisfaction. Venus is also about pleasure, material comforts. They are a source of comfort, and food, food as well. Taurus is about our food. It is very earthly as well. So anything that is earthly, it will be important at this time. I mean, even sex, right? Yeah, sex is very earthly. Yes, it is. All right. So, and we do have a square here with Venus squaring Pluto. And why is Pluto important? Well, Pluto's important because it rules Scorpio. Scorpio has two rulers. That's how I like to see it. The ancient ruler is Mars, and so we have Venus squaring Pluto, and that can bring, it can sometimes bring a mesmerizing person into our life where we feel seduced or romantically controlled. That can happen sometimes because Pluto is about power. It's also about control, and with the square there, it can also bring secret lovers into our life. There's a lot there going on with this Venus square Pluto. I'll talk about that when I talk about the signs, right? The signs themselves, all the 12 signs. And we can be in love with someone where we really feel like we don't know them, but they are mysterious and intense. That could be going on right now. That could be, it depends, right? It's going to depend on your own houses, right? So today we're going sign by sign. Um, we are, and the full moon is telling us not to give our power away. Yeah, hold on to that kind of self-esteem. That's what it is doing, right? Maintain the integrity and keep the stability. Keep it within, really. But don't give your power away because that is where Scorpio is opposing, the sun in Scorpio is opposing the moon, the full moon in Taurus, right? And the sun in Scorpio is challenging these Venusian qualities of self-worth and how we value ourselves and our relationships. Because Scorpio can be about our doubts and our fears. It is the occult, things that are hidden sometimes. That is, part of it. But doubts and fears, sometimes they are hidden, right? We don't understand sometimes that we are really kind of doubting ourselves sometimes when we can kind of make excuses about, why we are not attempting to achieve something sometimes, or why we're not doing that, or why we're not going that way. It can. So Scorpio is challenging these Venusian qualities of self-worth and how we value ourselves and our relationships. Scorpio's about relationships, as is Venus, right? So this can be intense, and there could be an intense relationship that sometimes with this Venus kind of square Pluto as well, there can be an intense relationship that is threatening our peace and harmony, but it is so intense and seductive, highly sexual, and even perhaps secretive, right? And these kind of things wield power over us, right? These very intense relationships or secretive kind of, people that come into our life that can sometimes wield power over it. So I'll talk about that I'll hit on that when I talk about the 12 signs. And right now we are going to talk about the 12 signs. And Aries, the full moon is in your second house. So Venus rules, you are the only person, the only sign with the natural house. So when I talk about the second house, this is Taurus is Venus rules the second house. It also rules the seventh house for you, which is Libra. But uh, yeah, and Venus, Libra's in the seventh house right now. So this is important for you, Aries. And so, yeah, and so natal Mars, your natal Mars is a sextiling Pluto from the ninth house to the 11th house, and Venus is opposing Chiron in your first house. But this Mars, that is basically, this Mars that is sextiling Pluto from the ninth to the seventh to the 11th. This is all about you kind of, seeing your higher path and taking action toward that. There's an opportunity here. You're seeing your higher path. You're seeing where your power lies. Yeah, and you could be seeing possibly where manipulation is, kind of happening in your life. That can be a possibility here. Venus is opposing Chiron in your first house. And so Venus is in your seventh house of love and relationships. This could be, business relationships, any. The seventh house is also about how we relate to others, our openness. It can be about enemies or opponents, right? Because legalities, right? That's where the seventh house is the house of, legal proceedings and things like that, court cases. So we have Venus opposing Chiron in your first house. If any of you are in some type of a, legal battle or something like that here, look within. And Chiron is wanting you to heal something in your first house. Chiron wants you to reflect. So definitely don't give away your power there. If or in a relationship, do not do that, Aries. And that is, the full moon can help teach us. Yeah. And so now let's look at Taurus here. And all right, so for Taurus, and Taurus, this is your full moon. So, the whole intro is for you, right? And so I have the chart pulled up for you guys, right? I do. And on the 7th, today is the full moon, of course, but on the 7th, Venus is going to square Pluto. Venus is your natal planet, right? So this is your full moon. There's a lot going on for you because, as I mentioned in the intro, Venus is in Libra. Venus is the ruler of Libra as well. So a lot going on. Could be a lot going on with your work, your relationships. But this is, these Libra um is a yang energy though. So interesting with Taurus is a yin because earth signs are yin, are more receptive. So there could be something going on here with your full moon, with this full moon that you are receiving, you're understanding, something's illuminated for you, right? And so we see Venus in the seventh, and it is, I beg your pardon, Venus is in your sixth house down here. So Venus, yeah, this is your sixth house. We start here, Taurus, and we work our way, uh, uh, um, you know, forward, right? So this is for Taurus, Sun, Moon, and Rising. That's how it works, right? And I have a Taurus moon, so that's definitely important, right? It is for all you moon signs out there as well. So the sixth house, Venus is in your sixth house of everyday life. Maybe you could be definitely kind of doing things that are supporting the beauty in your daily life, right? Maybe even your daily life, your routines, your lifestyle, but this is about your work too and your relationships because the sixth house is about your work and your health. So there could be something going on there for you. Um, yeah, but the full moon is of course, in your first house, right? And it is opposing for you, which will be the seventh house of relationships. Yeah, so there's a lot you are learning about relationships right now. There maybe a relationship will end for you and you are illuminated something, right? You are shown something basically. But the sun is here in your seventh house of relationships. There could be patterns that you are seeing that are coming out. This is a yin energy over here. Yeah, where the sun sits, right? And if you are watching the intro, I talk all about the opposition here, and it is important, right? It sure is. So here's the sun in your seventh house of relationship. This is the house this in the sign though of also intimate relationships, but what is hidden? So with the full moon, you could be understanding things about relationships, maybe that have been hidden. It can be about money. Scorpio is also about money. It is, and the occult, excuse me, and our intimate relationships, as I have said. Um, and so here we have, I mentioned Venus in the sixth. This is supporting your money, your health, your relationships with money. And also we have Venus squaring Pluto for you, Taurus. And here is Venus. Pluto's important because it has to do with Scorpio, and Scorpio is the opposite sign. So here we have, Venus is squaring Pluto from this is your sixth house of, daily lifestyle. As I mentioned, this is work and health. And so Venus is here squaring Pluto, and this is going to be in your 10th house of career. Okay, so Taurus, there could definitely be, you might be really understanding something here. Yeah, about your career. This can be about your social status here, but the square is putting a little bit of pressure here on you to take some type of an action. There are in these signs here um, of the yang energy. So this is something that you're going to have to do kind of here. You're being kind of forced here to take some type of action. You are. Um, And so Venus is square. This is your 10th house of career. It's also your house. Could be about your power within your work. Remember, Venus is about work here. And you're going to be reminded not to be stubborn, or to kind of fight change. Don't fight change, Taurus, because that is Taurus can be stubborn. Taurus doesn't like change. It's a slow moving, Venus is, I mean, at least for you, Taurus is a very slow moving energy. It's an earthy energy. It is concerned with the practical needs. That is what it is concerned. And it is squaring your 10th house. And this is also about your goal, your long-term goals, your career, your social status. Something could be changing. You might be seeing yourself in a whole different light here at Taurus, with Pluto here. Could be you could be really transforming something, and you might be able to see here that something maybe needs to end here, maybe as with regard to your work, because that is the sixth house. But basically, you could be you kind of challenged here to see your worth, right, and let something go with Pluto here. You're definitely being kind of pushed here to trust your intuition with Pluto. Yeah. hmm I feel like there's a major transformation for you there. And so, also we have Venus squaring Pluto. Pluto, this Venus can be about your relationships. There could be trust issues here with somebody. That's a possibility in a relationship. Power struggles even. And so, and Venus is, is squaring here. Let's look at Venus right now. Venus is squaring Jupiter. Jupiter's in your third house of decisions. It can be, the local community, but this is the house of thinking and processing information, plans and goals. Jupiter is here supporting your plans and goals, your visions, right, for your life path. Jupiter can be about your life path. This is a lot of wisdom here in your third house. And so, but Jupiter here Venus is squaring Jupiter, and Venus is coming from your sixth house. So this can have to do with your work and your plans and goals. It's possible here that you are, being you want to change a job, right? And the full moon is illuminating that for you. And letting you move a little bit easier into that. Yeah, because this is your full moon. It definitely is. So yeah, go with that, Taurus. But you're definitely going to be feeling some type of illumination, and also an elevation of your self-worth. Yeah, I feel like you are with the full moon in your first house of for you, it is about your self-worth, your own identity, your money, yeah, and your financial security. So go with that. I feel like the moon is asking you to see something. Let's move on to Gemini now. And Gemini, the full moon is happening in your 12th house of endings, right? Here's the full moon. I always like to look at the wheel. I did not have the wheel up during the intro, but yeah, as I'm Sagittarius, so we're visual. Yeah, we are definitely visual. Although I do enjoy audiobooks, right? Because that's the fast energy of Sagittarius, right? Lacking a little impatience. That Sagittarius is, one of our lessons that we have to learn is temperance, which is patience. And you can listen to an audiobook much faster than you can read the book, right? So here's the full moon in your 12th house of endings here. Um, yeah, so you could be asked to let something go, Gemini. You definitely could. This is in your house of endings. It is the last house, definitely before we get to you right here, Gemini, your sign, right? So you could also be asked to see something. The 12th house is a yin house where your intuition, receiving, being open, right? And so you are being asked to do that. And Venus is about being open. Yeah. And it is about, excuse me, it can be stubborn, but I feel like you are asked, excuse me, you are asked to be open. Venus also rules Libra, which is the house of openness. Yeah, being open to creating balance and things like that. So here in your 12th house, though, getting back to kind of this 12th house, this is asking you to let something go. It could be asking you to, let the past go, Gemini. It definitely could. And also, it could be about your work too, because, Taurus is the sign of money, our finances, and the money that we earn. It definitely is. It keeps us feeling stable. You might be asked to, kind of let something go about your work. You're probably seeing something here because, the full moon illuminates things for us. It does. It brings endings where things need to end, chapters need to close, right? In order to continue on our life, on our journey, right? Our spiritual journey, that's in, also our physical journey here on Earth. So Venus is in your fifth house here. And let's move forward to your fifth house. Your fifth house is ruled by Venus. How cool is that? And so Venus is here. So, this can be your relationships. Venus in the fifth house can really support your relationships, your self-worth in a relationship, your money and your creative pursuits, and also your self-expression, right? And so Venus here is, I believe, supporting your self-expression, whatever you are trying to create for yourself, Gemini. Um, yeah, and the 12th house is where things end over here where the full moon is, but it's also, it is ruled, the 12th house originally in, the archetype here is of visions too. There could be a vision that you have here as well. Jupiter's in your second house. That can be about your visions. And your second house is about money. Yeah, it is, and your self-esteem. There's some wisdom here you are, experiencing here uh, all year, really, with Jupiter there. And there is a square there as well. So Venus is squaring Jupiter. So you're being there could be a little bit of a challenge here for you. The squares are challenging for you to, possibly see your higher path, understand the wisdom that is being given. That could be happening here. The wisdom as it has to do with self-worth or your money, the money that you earn, right? Your resources as well. And so Venus is here, and yeah, and that is very good for you. Mars is sextiling Pluto from your seventh house to your ninth. Mars is connected to the sun that is in Scorpio, right? This is the ruling planet. Here is Mars, and Mars is sextiling Pluto from your seventh house to the ninth. Mars in the seventh can make you very kind of driven about a relationship or passionate about a relationship. Um, yeah, and it can also make you kind of, this can be possibly if you have any type of kind of disagreement or, maybe a court legal proceeding or court cases here. Mars is giving you the courage to handle that. And you have sextiles here. We have the sextile to Pluto. So this is in your seventh. This is your ninth house of wisdom and forward movement, expansion. So, and Mercury is here, Gemini, supporting that. Mercury is your sign, right? Mercury is in this seventh house for you. Yeah. So take advantage of all the wisdom here that I believe that is coming here. Um, yeah, coming to you at this time. And so Scorpio is your sixth house of, and that's where, the sun is. So the sixth house is, shining a light, baby, excuse me, not baby, shining a light here on your sixth house of work. It's in Scorpio. You're probably seeing something about your work that may need to change, right? Or about plans and goals and things like that. Um, and you can transform a relationship. You can. We have with this sextile here, Mars, you might be able to transform because this is your seventh house. Yeah. And so seventh house of relationships, Mars is here. Could be, there's an opportunity with the sextile for you to go ahead and transform a relationship if that is what you need. You might feel like you need power over your own life or some type of independence where Pluto is sitting in Aquarius, right? And you could be moving into a very intense relationship by your own choice. Venus is here in your sixth house. Is this your sixth house? I believe it's your fifth. It's in your fifth house of self-expression and creative pursuits. The fifth house is where we create things, but we create things with our own self-expression. The sun rules the fifth house, and which is, our sense of self. And so Venus here in the fifth house is very strong, but it is squaring this Pluto here. In your ninth house. I feel like you're being asked to kind of trust your own wisdom here and to kind of act according to your own beliefs here. Um, you could be wanting maybe to possibly end a relationship here. And Venus in your fifth too is supporting your creative, like I was saying, your creative endeavors, supporting your self-esteem as it relates to your own self-expression. For sure it is. It can be supporting your money. You might be making money here with creative aspects. It is in Libra, so this is definitely could be, about relationships. Here it is squaring Pluto in your ninth house of wisdom and expansion. So there's something that you could feel kind of challenged about here, and it may have to do possibly I feel like this is about your forward path, your path forward, and possibly a relationship or the money that you earn. All right. And there could be a relationship possibly that needs to change, or your partner maybe possibly does not have the same kind of beliefs as you, and that, maybe you're not on the same page here about life in general, or about your beliefs in order to expand your life, or it could be about somebody that you kind of maybe you're feeling like, I don't know if I believe in this relationship anymore. That can happen here. And as I said, it could also be about your work. Venus is about your money. Yeah. Yeah, so let's move on now to Cancer. Cancer, the full moon is in your 11th house of the future. So let's look here, and here's the full moon, and here you are. And the full moon is here. When the full moon shows up in the 11th house, it can really illuminate the path forward. It can show us, hey, things are need to change, or things are changing, but it can show us, give us insight in order to move, a little bit more easier into the future. And it can also, bring the full moon can bring, kind of shocking events to us. So maybe there is something here that is kind of shocking for you. Something could be ending with full moons that is kind of redirecting you in the future. I know a Cancerian where a relationship is definitely ending. So maybe you could be dealing with, right? Taurus is about as it is also about our relationships. It is because of the Venus aspect. We have the dual rulership with Libra and Taurus. Mm-hmm. The sun is also, and so let's look at the full moon here. It is also in the house of social groups and friends and, like-minded kind of people, usually uninvolved relationships. The sun, that's, the 11th house, right? The sun is showing you something here, definitely, down here. I beg your pardon. Um, yeah, the full moon is here in your 11th house. And let's look here at what house. This is the opposite sign for you. Um, yeah, it is. Let's look at that. Uh, and let's see here. It's usually the seventh house. Well, let's move this forward here. And it's in Scorpio for you. It's going to be the fifth house. Yeah, it would be the seventh house for, um, it would be the eighth house for Aries. Kind of, but we're not talking about Aries. No, we're not. So let's go back here. For you, Cancer, here you are. The sun is in your fifth house of creative pursuit. It's also in your house of self-expression. So there could be something you are seeing here that is not aligning with what you want to create for yourself or your own self-expression. Yourself, your identity. The sun is your sense of yourself. It's in Scorpio. It's helping you see. It's helping you understand something at a very deep psychological level with the full moon here, opposing the sun here. And if you listen to the intro, I always recommend that. I explain, the dynamic and, what goes on with the full moon with the opposite sign, right? It's always opposing the opposite sign, telling us to do something or telling us to merge these qualities in order for us to feel better in the world. Really, it is, offering its wisdom, telling us to merge those two signs, right? And these two houses as well. So this is the fifth and the 11th. So, and the 11th house also, excuse me, where the full moon is, it also has to do with kind of our own authenticity because the 11th house is the house ruled by Aquarius and Uranus, where we, in the archetype of itself, where we need to be authentic, we need to feel free or independent, we need to feel authentic, but we kind of need to fit in as well. It's very interesting here, but um, you are definitely seeing something here. I feel like you are. Some of you guys could be going through a breakup, and Venus is in your fourth house, squaring Pluto in the eighth. Let's look at Venus. So Venus is here. That is your fourth house of home and family. Yeah, there could be, possibly a breakup because it's in Libra, right? And we have these squares compelling you, pushing you, like creating this tension. That's what a square is. You kind of feel boxed in, right? Where you are, it's how I like to see it, where you're feeling this intense pressure, right? Pluto is also about intensity. So here we have, this is your fourth house. It is also your house of emotional stability. So this is asking you, Cancer, in your fourth house, Venus is supporting your emotional stability, right? Because of the Cancer, because of Taurus, right? And that is about our higher, our self-esteem, our stability. The square here is asking you possibly to let something go because Pluto can be letting something go, possibly to be independent over here. Venus is also about our relationships, and this is in your eighth house of intimate relationships. Pluto is here squaring. There could be power struggles in an intimate relationships that is not supporting your emotional well-being. That could be happening here. You might feel like you want to end something. You definitely could. And Venus squaring Jupiter. Let's look at Venus squaring Jupiter. I feel like this could be a little tough for you, possibly. This kind of full moon. I think it's going to move quickly for you because you're going to be illuminated something about your future, as I was saying. And so now we have Venus squaring Jupiter. Jupiter's in your sign, right? Jupiter is supporting you, Cancer. This is the kind of, I'm not going to say savior, but Jupiter is about God and our higher ideals, right? It is the wisdom that we strive to learn or to experience, right? To reach our higher goals, like our higher visions. And so Venus, Jupiter is definitely supporting you here. It's supporting possibly your home and family, but it is supporting you, right? You are about home and family. It is really supporting you. And so here in Venus in your fourth house is supporting your home and family, supporting you as you are in a relationship, but there's a square here. There's putting pressure here. So, this is telling you to act here. What's more important for your higher ideals? There could be a relationship that you feel like you're not aligned with anymore. You don't believe in it anymore. That's a possibility because Venus is in Libra, right? But it's asking you, use your self-esteem, pull yourself up. There could be something difficult here, as I was saying with the square. And, Jupiter is definitely supporting you. Jupiter is the benefic, you're right, which is like the benefit for you, supporting your higher ideals. And so, yeah, that'll be good, really good for you. You could also be Venus is squaring Jupiter here. And so Venus could be about your work here. There could be a job possibly that you're tired of, and you want to take action and do something that is kind of more aligned with your higher ideals, right? Possibly with your spiritual values. That can be, you could be tired of a job or someone is close to you, and you're feeling kind of pressured here, family or a partner possibly, where you're feeling pressured, where you could feel possibly that a relationship has no need has no like room to grow. You might be feeling that here with Venus squaring Jupiter, like it's never going to go anywhere. That it can also imply that all the enthusiasm in the world, or motivation, possibly, can will not cannot even sustain something, right? Yeah, and so, But Cancer, this is looking good for you. It really is because Jupiter is protecting you. Seriously, big time. Yeah, it is in your first house of self. All right. So, yes, and there's some wisdom that will definitely support you through this full moon. All right, let's look at Leo. And Leo, the full moon is in your 10th house of career, social standing, and father figures. This could be the father itself, right? You are also about leading figures, because Leo rules like, the king, right? The king of the jungle. Leo, rules the sun, but the sun was the king in ancient civilizations, right? It is still the king in many ways, right? Um, yeah, we cannot eat without the sun. We won't grow. We need the sunlight to warm the earth, right? We'd all be, if the sun, went away, we'd all be in an ice age, right? Most likely here, yeah. And so here the full moon is in your 10th house of career. Let's look at that. Um, and here's the full moon, right? So this is about your achievement, your authority, your personal achievement. Did I say, yeah, the full moon's in the 10th house? Your personal ambition could be as well, because it is about your achievement in your own life. And this can be also about your social standing, maybe social status or social standing. Maybe your social status is changing here. You could be seeing something or personal insights coming out for you. Yeah, Venus is the ruler of the full moon. Venus is it's a personal sign. So it could be, illuminations here for you about your career or social status. Maybe there's something that you really want to change, right? In your social status. And here it is opposing your fourth house of home and family. Yeah, let's look at that. So this is the kind of work-life balance here, if you will, or your emotions kind of, fourth house, your emotional stability as opposed to possibly your financial stability here and the balance that needs to take place here, right? And the sun is in Scorpio, can be about intimate relationships. Yeah, and Venus can be about our relationships, but you're seeing something here that has to do, Leo, with your kind of work-life balance or something here that you need to merge, possibly, in order to create more work-life balance. That can be the case here. This can be about the father, as I was saying, your own achievement, and there's a challenge here with the opposition. You might want a new job, a new career, or more work-life balance, as I was saying. You could also be kind of, you could feel challenged here a little bit with this. This creates change. Yeah, the oppositions create change, and that's why we say the full moon is always bringing endings, right? Or changes, right? Culmination and also revelations where we see something and we're going, well, I understand now. And now I'm going to let that go. I'm going to let it end, right? Or I see it's already over, possibly, right? And so this could be challenging your values, Leo, between work and home. That's a possibility. It could be also be about how you see yourself out in the world. Taurus is about our values. Maybe there's something here that is very kind of career or social status that you're not really, you don't believe in it anymore, or your values have changed here. I feel like this is asking you to look at that, like kind of what's more important, between either home and family or your emotions. Could be your intimate relationships here. And it can have to do with your money, but what's really more important for you, with those dynamics, right? With those themes, the fourth and the 10th house, which are really very important, home and family, our emotional stability, our financial stability, things like that, long-term goals, right? Or how other people see us. So, and here we have for you, Leo, in your second house of money. The second house is related to the Taurus full moon. It is because Taurus rules the second house in the natural chart. You're letting things go here. You're learning from something here. either about your values. You could be learning from maybe about work here. This is your second house. But I feel like your values are changing, and this is supporting possibly your work, your everyday life, or even your health, right? Emotional health, physical health as well, but it is trining the moon here. So there's a flow for you there with the full moon. Yes, in your 10th house of career versus your second house of money and self-esteem. So there's something you're letting go and you're seeing with the full moon with those themes. And so we have Venus is in your third house of communication, Leo, and this is squaring Pluto. Let's look at Venus now. Let's refresh this. And we'll look at Venus here and in your third house. Your third house is your house of decisions. It's your thinking, right? Your plans and goals, yeah, exactly. It can be also not your willpower, yeah, your strength, right? Venus is supporting your willpower. It sure is. This can be about relationships. It's also here in Libra. You might have plans and goals here. Venus is supporting that, but Venus is also your money, your relationships. It is definitely supporting that for you. But here it is, and it is squaring Pluto here. Pluto's important because of Scorpio is the opposite sign of Taurus, and that's what we talk about. If you watch the intro, that can really be helpful for you, right? About this full moon and kind of what it means in a general sense, like kind of for all of us, right? But for you personally, we have Venus in your third house of this can also be about, family and siblings and local community, what is very familiar to you here, um, and learning, right? Maybe you are studying or learning here. It can be to improve your life as well, because Venus wants us to have value, but not only that, financial stability, right? It wants us to have the possessions that we need, and the security. And so Venus is in your third house in Libra, so this can be relationships, right? And this can be your plans and goals here. The square here is making you take action, though, and that is going to be in your seventh house of relationships. So definitely this can be about your relationships. You could be, maybe you are kind of, feeling this pressure here. You could be feeling like a conversation is needed because Venus in the third house of conversations, decisions, maybe with a partner is very important right now. You could feel pressure or conflict in dealing with someone who is trying to have power over you, Leo. And Leo never likes that. No, Leo is about strength and courage. Yeah, Leo will not put up with that. No, not Leo in its highest personality. That's exactly right. You could even feel like there is a financial struggle, maybe with somebody that you're working with, or in a financial situation, possibly with partners here, maybe business partners as well. Libra is also about business partners. You could. And so, yeah, and good luck with that, Leo. And yeah, I'll see you in the next video. And so, Virgo, the full moon is in your ninth house. And let's look at that here. Let's refresh it so we can see all the luminaries, right? And here's the sun. The full moon's in your ninth house of higher visions. There could be revelations to you, Virgo, is pointing you to a higher vision for yourself, right? Like, I don't believe in this anymore. I don't want that to be part of my higher vision, my life path, and where I can expand in my life, right? The ninth house is a house of expansion. Why is it about expansion? Because it is about the wisdom we gain in order to move forward and to expand our lives, or the vision that we experience when we step out and follow what we really believe in, right? That's really important, right, in this life. Otherwise, there will be a feeling of unfulfillment, right? So Jupiter is the benefic and it is ruling. Venus rules this ninth house for you, Virgo, but the ninth house is, of Sagittarius, and it is about these higher goals, right? So, excuse me, let's have a look at that. So here's the full moon opposing the sun. excuse me, this is your ninth, and this is going to be your third house over here. Yeah, and we can see it right here as you are here, Virgo. The third house, your third house of willpower, plans and goals, communication, the mind, right? Decisions and conversations. Your third house is ruled by Mercury. This is making you, Mercury, excuse me, Scorpio or Pluto ruling your also Mars ruling your third house. Scorpio has two rulers, in my opinion, right? Mars and Pluto, but Pluto is a little bit more generational or kind of for the collective. But here we have the third house ruled by this Mars, but and you're able to see things about you're able to see and understand your division, your decisions. It's a very deep thinking here, and Mercury rules you, right? Mercury is your ruling planet, which is about thoughts and the mind and all these things that have to do with processing information, decisions and plans and goals and things. So, Mercury is showing you here, sorry, Mars and Scorpio is showing you here, showing you things that have been hidden here, possibly about your goals. Yeah, because here, this is the full moon is in your house of higher visions. There's something that you are trying to merge here that you could be feeling very challenged. This will create change for you. The full moon creates change and endings or seeing something, illuminations and insights, right? So here you are, and it's in Scorpio. You're definitely seeing something here. Um, and this can be about major change in your life. In Scorpio, you need major change and something's not aligning with you anymore, right? It may have to do with your approach to relationships. Here it is in, in, you know, here in, excuse me, in Scorpio, that is intimate relationships. It can have to do with money, and the full moon is in your money house as well over here. And this can be, since Venus is ruling this, Venus is the ruler of the full moon. This can be about relationships as well. You could definitely be seeing something here that something really needs to change. And this is being supported here because supported in your favor, of course, because the north-south node is here in your first house. So you've been purging for a long time now, Virgo, seeing what things don't work for you, seeing things from the past that need to move. You need to move out of the way. You could be learning from past karmic lessons, uh, right? And so the South Node also it lets you see what you kind of been holding on to in the past that's no longer serving you. And here's the South Node trining this ninth house of higher visions. Yeah, this is definitely, you're seeing something here. And the full moon is supporting your movement forward here, your higher vision once again from the ninth house to the seventh house of openness. You could be very open right now. Taurus is a yin kind of energy where we are open, right? But this is an opportunity for you to kind of, move into your higher self and move toward the life path that you really want. It can have to do with relationships. It's in the seventh house for you. It's also in Pisces. So trust me, trust your intuition as you move forward. All right. And there's a lot of wisdom for you. Right now, yeah, there is here. And so, where are we here? And Virgo, yeah. And the sun is, yeah, sextiling your south node. So here, let's look at the sun here. Here it is, south sextiling the south node in your sign. Really important when a luminary, or this is a node, it's the moon's node, the lunar node in your first house of self. Here you are seeing what needs to go in your third house. You're being very smart about it, right? Remember I said the third house is your mind and information processing. That's what you're doing, and you're seeing it at a very deep level, Virgo. The full moon is helping you see that. Yes, it is. You're seeing it at a very deep level as it is in Scorpio. All right, so let's move on now to um, move on to Libra. And Libra, this is really important for you because, excuse me, Venus is ruling your excuse me, Venus is ruling the full moon for you. This is your sign, right? This is, I mean, your, Venus is your ruling planet. So here it is excuse me, the full moon, right? For you. And this is opposing this is opposing a fixed sign here, Scorpio, and Scorpio is your second house. The second house is connected to the full moon. Why do I say that? Because Taurus is, Venus rules the second house as well. So Venus rules your first house here, um, and we have your second house, which is about and uh, your money and your relationships, right, as well. But the sun is here, and Scorpio is, we can say Scorpio is ruling that, right? We can really say Mars is ruling it, or Pluto, but because of Scorpio here. But the ruler for Scorpio is both Mars and Pluto, right? Yeah. But here we use Mars more because Pluto is, it's a little bit more generational, right? Pluto can stays in a sign for like 30 years. It depends on what sign, 25 to a long time. Yeah, many, many years. This is why we call it generational. But here, Libra, we have the sun is in Scorpio. There's a lot to do here with your self-worth because this is the second house for you of your self-worth, Libra, and maybe as it relates to an intimate relationship or your money. You're seeing something here with the full moon. It is illuminating something about your money, intimate relationships, and also things that are hidden from you, possibly because this is in Scorpio. Things could have been hidden for you, and now about yourself or about how you relate to relationships or your relationship with money could be. Yeah, this is really important for you, the full moon. And this is going to be in your eighth. Is this your eighth? I believe this is happening. Yeah, in your eighth house. It is. And the eighth house is also Scorpio. This is, you're on the axis right here, Libra, with this full moon of Venus and Venus, really, because because this is the second house over here. There's something you could be seeing here about your relationships, your work, or your money. And the full moon is going to illuminate that for you. Your power in a relationship will be illuminated as well, whether or not you feel like you have power or power possibly over your finances. Venus is in your first house of self right here. So this is supporting you definitely, your money and your relationships, your self-worth. And so here it is squaring Pluto. This is going to be in your fifth house of self-expression and creating creativity, right? So here it is supporting that, but it is supporting it in a way where it's asking you to take action here. The square is always putting pressure on us. um, this could be, this Pluto's about power. There could be power struggles in a relationship. The fifth house is also about our relationships, right? It is. And this is your house of love and pleasure, creativity. It's also about parents and children and teaching children, the fifth house. But the square is showing you something about your relationships here. And so is this full moon here, and how I believe your power and how you show up. There could be power struggles in a relationship, and you could be feel like your values right now, are not being supported, possibly by a partner. That could be the case here. Yeah, Venus is in, is in your sign, which is right your house or your first house of self. But this is about love here or money and your relationship with it and your self-esteem. There's no doubt here. Mars is in your third house. Mars is important because of Scorpio being the sun in Scorpio. Mars is in your third house of decisions, uh, plans and goals, and, can be about siblings. Um, but it is in your house of thoughts and intelligence. So Mars is telling you to take action on possibly some type of plan or goal or a way of thinking, right? Your attitude or a way of thinking. Um, yeah, and so Mars is here sextiling Pluto, and this is your third to your fifth house. So there's an opportunity for you to kind of stand up for your own beliefs right here. And it may have to do with a relationship. It could. Um, but stand up for your visions, your thoughts, whatever. And Mercury is here also supporting those vision and thoughts. So there's some type of opportunity you have to maybe, also talk to a partner here to kind of set things kind of well, right? Yeah. Yeah, there could be also, so there's kind of an opposition to change here, to change a dynamic in a relationship or to bring truth to a situation, Libra. The truth can sometimes be your own truth, right? That is the most important, and support you, which can support your aspirations and offer you a say in something. You could feel angry here with about a partner here there where there's not a lot of power, but this is definitely an opportunity for you to speak up. Mars in the third house, that can play out like that. All right. So, yeah, and so let's continue now. And let's see what we have for Scorpio. The full moon is in your opposite sign, Scorpio, right? And so we've talked about that in the intro, that the full moon always offers up an opposition. And interesting with an opposition, it can feel like because it is always opposing the sun, right? And the sun in is in your sign, which is really important, right? But the opposition is, giving us a chance to kind of change things. It can. It's asking us to change things. It's asking us to, you're right. And it can be like a blaming of somebody or something. And this is why we are kind of being asked to, because it's an opposition. It can, kind of, it can speak to an opponent in our life. It doesn't always have to be a person, but to merge those energies, right? So we have the sun, the full moon in your opposite sign, in your house of relationships. So um, let's have a look at this. This is in your seventh house. Yeah, it's always in the seventh house, the opposite sign. Here it is. And yeah, and so this is your house of relationships and marriage and openness, being receptive, right? To Libra is rules the seventh house. Venus is ruling your seventh house. Very cool. As Venus is, yes, ruling the full moon and your seventh house. So, perfect here. But I feel like this is about a relationship where this opposition to your first house, you might feel like this full moon is illuminating something about your relationships that you need to change or that you need to maybe accept and understand. The sun is here. The sun is here to show you, give you the clarity. It's also here to support you for sure when the sun is in your sign. Um, and so, yeah, you might be feeling that you have to bring harmony and balance to a relationship as well. And that is what is kind of challenging you here, right? And now we have, excuse me, Mars. Mars is also here, and it is the planet of action right here. This is your planet, your ruling planet, and it is actually sextiling Pluto here. This is, um, and Pluto is about power. Yeah. And so there's an opportunity for you possibly Mars is in your second house, which is the second house of money and, how we value ourselves and things like that. That's what the full moon is about in many ways. This is giving you an opportunity to kind of stand up for yourself here and kind of it can be to regain kind of your self-esteem. Maybe that has to do with the relationship, possibly, because yeah, it can. But you're seeing something here. Also, Mercury is here in your second house of values and money. And this can still be about relationships, Scorpio, because of the Venus full moon. Even though the second house is not really connected to relationships, not really, but it is a Venus. We have the Venus full moon, which is about our relationships, our money. You could be taking there's going to be opportunity here for you to step into something and make more money. possibility here while it is sextiling Pluto. It could be about taking your power back. It definitely can be. Um, hmm And so, and we also have this, we have a trine, and that is supporting your ninth house of faith and belief. Um, let's see here. Let's go ahead and refresh that. And for you, Scorpio, your ninth house is Cancer. Yeah, your ninth house is in Cancer. Let's have a look at that. Yeah, your ninth house, your house of expansion and forward movement and also wisdom. We have, Jupiter in your ninth house. Lots of wisdom being gained right here. Jupiter is of the ninth house in the archetype, right? It does, Jupiter rules the ninth house. Yours is in Cancer. This can be about family here, but the trine, let's look at the trine here where Mars is trining your natal Mars in the second house of money and of money and self-esteem. It is trining Jupiter. So there's definitely some wisdom that you have gained here. Uh, mhm. And this is the ninth house here that is helping you move toward your higher values or your higher beliefs. Could definitely be a belief in yourself because Mars is here. This is definitely making things easier for you to move forward, expand your life, and maybe the full moon can definitely illuminate that for you. hmm you can feel like your values are changing as well, Scorpio, with this. And Uranus will move back into where is Uranus? The planet of change and volatility. Yeah, will move back into your seventh house here where the full moon is. And this is, it's going to move back to 29 degrees within a couple of days of the full moon. So this is, could maybe be something volatile here or something about your approach to relationships. This is your seventh house, Scorpio, where Uranus will move back into at the 29th degree is going to be telling you to possibly see a relationship that is just volatile and that you need change and you need your own independence could definitely be showing up like that. So yeah, and let's go forward here to let's look at Venus though. We have Venus here and it is squaring your Pluto. Yeah, so let's look at Venus here. Venus is in your 12th house of endings. Yeah, Venus is telling you to, it could be telling you to leave something behind, a relationship, possibly, or to see what's been hidden because it shows up in the hidden house. Yeah, Venus there. Could be showing you how to make more money, possibly, right? But it could definitely be showing you things about partnerships that relates to your self-esteem, possibly, your values here, right? And it is squaring here your fourth house of emotions or home and family here. There's something going on here with relationships or family and your self-worth. There could be a power struggle with somebody. There could be, but this square is, could feel very challenging. It could be, I feel like it is challenging your self-esteem here a little bit, most likely. And this is challenging you to, I believe, either break away from something, transform something. It's Pluto here, transform something, or leave it behind because here's the 12th house of endings. And Pluto can be, when we talk about transformation, we can talk about endings, right? You can. This is you. I feel like Scorpio, you with this full moon, you are definitely learning some major wisdom for yourself about how to show up in relationships. Could be about your money as well, but I feel like the full moon is bringing you something very good. A full moon happening in your opposite sign of money, right? Of money, self-esteem, and also relationships are always going to be important here because of the Venus aspect. All right, so let's move on now and let's talk about Sagittarius. Sagittarius, the full moon is in your sixth house of daily life, your lifestyle, your routines, the life that you kind of choose for yourself, right, is opposed, it's about your work and your health. It is the house of what's really important in our practical life, right? Virgo rules, or Mercury rules, that sixth house. This is about practicality, right? Virgo is the sign that really rules the sixth house. The planet or the luminary is, Mercury. But here we have the sixth house for you. This could be really illuminating things about your daily life that's going to change. Since this is Venus here, you could get into a whole new relationship and your life can change like that. You could be learning about relationships, definitely that, and how they affect your daily life. Possibly could be, you could also be learning here something, Sagittarius, about your work, right? And how you value yourself, and how your work like fits into that, right? The sixth house is about health. Uh, it definitely is. You could be seeing something about your health here as well that is really important. And here, the full moon is opposing your 12th house of endings. Wow. Yeah, Scorpio is your 12th house of ending. So the sun is there showing you what needs to end. It can have to do with matters of self-esteem, matters of work. You could be seeing something here like I want to do something different. I want my daily routines to kind of, to change. Um, but the north node here, the south node, where you're letting things go, that is happening in your 10th house of career and social status. So you're letting things go. Maybe that have to do with the father. Sometimes this has to do with the father or father figures, but you're letting things go, um, yeah, that are, support whatever you're letting go of, or possibly the wisdom that you have learned from the past that you're kind of purging. I learned that. I'm leaving it alone now. The South Node. This can be about a past life. Sometimes it can. I do past life reading. So, of course, I'm understanding the South Node in its entirety. But here it is trining the full moon um, in your house of career and ambition and authority. So this is what you're learning here, or it's going to make it a lot easier for you to let things go that no longer serve you, that are kind of blocking your ambition, or consolidation of things consolidation of possibly resources, right? A Taurus is also resources. hmm and this can be about work as well. I think I mentioned that Taurus is also the money you earn. But your self-esteem is, I feel like it is improved here, because here we have the full moon sextiling the North Node. The North Node is about your higher path and where you are striving to go, your fate and destiny, your wisdom, what your soul really wants for you, right? So here we have the North Node is for you, Sagittarius, is in your fourth house of emotions. It can be your fourth house. Yeah, Pisces. Jupiter is ruling or Neptune. We can say, yeah, it's really Neptune here. But Pisces has two rulers. Um, it has Jupiter and Neptune. For me, it does. The ancient ruler was always Jupiter, right? And so here we have, though, there's an opportunity here for you to move toward your higher goals. Yeah, your higher ideals here. Move toward your true potential. And it is supporting your emotions, your well-being, your emotional well-being. So, really good for you. Yeah, and you could end a job. You could, with the full moon, Sagittarius, or you could end a way of the way that you do a job, possibly. Remember, because the full moon is in your sixth house of daily routines. So you could end a job, or maybe a particular aspect of your job, or maybe a particular work that you do, right? Your natal Jupiter during the full moon, it's actually there in Cancer, excuse me, is in your eighth house, supporting your eighth house of money, of intimate relationships, right? Of you being able to see and understand yourself. The eighth house is the occult, right? To see things maybe unconscious patterns that you couldn't before. This is the psychic house. Jupiter is there supporting your intuitive visions for yourself, right? This is going to be there as well. The eighth house is about your money, your shared resources with somebody else, right? And here we have these trines and that are really kind of setting you up here. And Mars, which has a lot to do with the full moon here because Mars is the ruler of the opposite sign, Scorpio here, of the full moon. Mars is in your first house. Look at that. You're taking action here. Jupiter is supporting you, supporting your expansion, supporting your wisdom, Sagittarius, and your life path forward. Like what's really important for you in this life, right? Jupiter is about expanding, but it's not expanding anything. It's about expanding our wisdom and what we want for our life path, right? Yeah, Jupiter is the guru here, supporting that life path. So this is really good for you. Um, and you might be learning of a truth, Sagittarius, when we have the sun in your 12th house of endings. The 12th house is also where we have unconscious patterns where we're able to see. And, this is showing you here the sun in Mercury, the sun in Scorpio can really be showing you these hidden patterns, as I was saying. It could be about relationships too, as, Scorpio is also about your relationships. Yeah, it could definitely be here. But you could be learning of a truth. You could be learning about attitudes that you need to leave behind, Sagittarius, because, uh, you know, Jupiter is supporting you here in your eighth house of unconscious patterns as well. What has been hidden from us. So I feel like you're definitely seeing and an old lover can resurface as well with the full moon. All right. Seeing your value regarding your job is changing. You're starting to see you're seeing your worth more and more. It looks like Venus is squaring Pluto. Let's look at Venus. Venus is in your 11th house of the future. Wow, that's very cool. Supporting your future, supporting your money, supporting your job, perhaps, because Venus can be the money we earn, supporting your relationships and supporting your well-being. It is in Libra, so that's a very beautiful thing. In your 11th house of the future, this is supporting friendships as well, could be. But here we have Venus squaring Pluto. Oh, ouch, right? So Pluto is in your, let's have a look at that. Um, in your third house of decisions and the mind, conversations, your thinking, your style of thinking, how you process things, right? Intellectually, of course, or analytically. And so it is squaring Pluto. So, in the third house, coming from your 11th house of the future, you're seeing your worth here, and it's creating some type of change for you, possibly about your plans and goals here in the third house. It can be you want to feel more independent and more powerful as you move forward with with those, right? And we have Mars sextiling Pluto. So Mars is in your first house, showing you an opportunity here, I believe, with the full moon. Yeah. And so very cool for you, showing you opportunity about money, um, anything you're really passionate about, your own personal power, as Mars sits in your house of self and Pluto is here in your third house. Something could really change for you here as well. There could be an opportunity to really transform something. Yeah, could be. It could be a relationship, right? Pluto. Sometimes Pluto is, about Scorpio, is about power and intimate relationships. It is. So let's move on now to Capricorn. And the full moon is in your fifth house, Capricorn. Let's look at that. The full moon is showing you something about, I believe, about your own self-expression. You maybe are seeing more worth here. You could be seeing, more self-worth about something. It can come by way of maybe an illumination where boom, kind of with the full moon. The full moon can show it, can feel a little uncomfortable, right? The moon is, the moon is Cancerian energy, basically, which illuminates, but it's very emotional. It's deep, right? And it is opposing the full moon, a very deep sign, right? Scorpio is about depth, and it's a psychological sign, anything that is to the depths of our soul, things like that. So we have the full moon in your fifth house of creative pursuits as well, not only self-expression, but this is also in your house of love and pleasure, the full moon. You could be learning something about maybe how you show up in relationships, possibly, and how they affect self-esteem. And this can be about your work, possibly, the money you earn here, the full moon in Taurus, right? And it is opposing, let's look at what is it is opposing your 11th house of the future. Yeah, you're definitely seeing something about your future that has to do with your self-expression or your self-worth, or how to earn more money, possibly with your creative pursuits. Could be um, these are yeah, they're in fixed signs, so you could maybe, be kind of very adamant about something once the full moon, once you're kind of feeling the full moon, right? And yeah, and this can be about social connections where the full moon here, the sun is in your 11th house of social connections. You could be seeing something about friendships or maybe the groups that you kind of belong to, that maybe needs to change or is feeling kind of challenging, possibly. Scorpio is helping you see it, definitely. And here it is, opposing your fifth house. This can be about children, family as well, but there's a merging here that needs to take place with every full moon. Yeah, and the North Node is being trined. Let's look at the North Node from the Sun being in your 11th house of the future. And here, this is Sagittarius, Capricorn, here you are. And so, yeah, the third house, the North Node is in your third house. This is about your plans and goals and your visions, possibly, but you're trusting your intuition, or there will be a flow for you to do that because it's in Pisces, right? Use your imagination. There's something about your creative aspects, creative pursuits, or your own self-expression that has to do with your goals and your plans and your visions here. And there's an ease there for you to kind of show you that to show you something, right? An opportunity, perhaps, but definitely to support you with this trine. All right. Venus is in your house of, let's refresh this. Venus here, Capricorn, is in your house of career. And this is, Venus is about money here and self-worth, supporting your house of career. So go for it, Capricorn. Whatever you are trying to do here, earn more money, but definitely go for it. We see, though, Venus is squaring Pluto. Pluto's in your second house of money. So there's some type of change that needs to happen here. You may really need to believe in yourself here when we have, um, this Venus in your 10th house of career, or how other people see you, your social status. You got to believe in yourself here. I feel like the square is pushing you to do that. Yeah, I'm pretty sure it is. And so we have Venus squaring, also squaring Jupiter. Jupiter, let's see what house Jupiter is in for you. I feel like it is um, Jupiter's in your seventh house of relationships or relating. But Jupiter is also about our visions, all right? So this is putting some pressure on you to either believe in yourself. Jupiter is also about, believe in your own expansion, believe in your higher ideals, right? Be enthused, have, um, what is the word? Optimism and like hope and things like that. And so Venus is here showing up in that house of relationships. And this can be any relationship, a business relationship. Yeah, business relationship, it could be, right? And you could be seeing the truth in something. Sometimes Jupiter will really show us the truth, and it could be coming by way of this full moon. It could, right? Because that will illuminate. The full moon often illuminates truth for us. Yeah. And so let's see what else we might have here. Yeah. And I think I talked about that Venus squaring Pluto from your house of career and authority, personal authority can be, right? The authority you have over your own life, your personal achievement. It can be about that, the 10th house. Yeah, and this is squaring your house of money and possessions over here. There could be a little bit of worry here, but you're being really pushed to take action here, um, Taurus, Capricorn. I beg your pardon here. And so there can be someone here or something that you value, Capricorn, but the issue can be one of secrets or power struggles, possibly. And that could kind of be feeling like it can affect your stability, right? Shared resources can be another issue. It can. The sun is here in Scorpio. That is in your 11th house of the future, illuminating something, could be about a partner or anybody you share resources with. This can be anything, could be 401ks, bonuses or anything here, inheritances, but this could definitely be showing you something. The sun is illuminating your 11th house of the future and what you want for yourself, right? Yeah. And so, yeah, and if you allow something, you may be, there could be an issue here with someone who maybe wants to be in control. I did mention that, but if you allow something to completely transform itself or end, possibly definitely support you. There can be tension with career ambitions and finances. There can. I was talking about that square here, your 10th house. Venus is in your 10th, but kind of a lot of squares here. So, yeah, it is. And we can see a couple squares here. But you could be feeling kind of tense maybe about your finances here. Yeah, but there's a feeling of peace that will come over you. It could be definitely Capricorn when we have the full moon after something feels kind of emotional. There could be a feeling of peace coming to you here. Trust yourself, Capricorn. Definitely trust yourself moving forward as the sun is in Scorpio. All right. The sun is asking all of us really to trust, to see beneath the veil, right? And here we have this, the full moon in a sign of self-esteem and money, right? So, yeah, go ahead and trust yourself as you move forward. All right. Aquarius, this is happening in your fourth house of home and family. And here's the full moon right here. The full moon in the fourth house it can feel very emotional because the fourth house is already an emotional house, right? There could be something that's revealed to you about home and family or your own emotional stability, possibly that has to do with dealing with family members, could be. But it is definitely about your self-worth. Most likely, it can also be about your money. You could be shown something here or relationships too. Aquarius, when the full moon is coming out, right? It might feel uncomfortable because, as I mentioned, the full moon in the fourth house is definitely emotional. Yeah, it definitely can be, right? Um, yeah, and so the sun is in your house of career, Aquarius. This is your 10th house. Where's the sun? Right here in your 10th house of career, showing you what's important about your career during this full moon, kind of, the full moon lunation here. The sun is showing you about excuse me, your career, your social standing, your social status could be showing you what's really important here, but it's letting you see at a very deep level here in in Scorpio, definitely kind of what's important. This could be showing you too that possibly that you're dealing with, career with people who are hiding things, people who are secretive, people who have power struggles, that you're having a power struggle with possibly in your career here. Um, yeah, that could be showing up here, and you may not like that, right? Aquarius does not like all that power struggles or somebody trying to have control over them or even secrets because uh, Aquarius it is about freedom and it's about being authentic and it's like a humanitarian sign. where basically we care about these visions, care about, other people. We care about social movement and things like that. It doesn't have time really for secrets. It is trying to sometimes reinvent itself with, Aquarius and Uranus and things like that. Um, it is also connected to, our higher visions. It is, and in the way that a little different than Sagittarius, but and so here, Aquarius, this is about your work-life balance. That's what that's about. Yeah, this fourth and this 10th house axis. So that could be, you might need to merge something to make, either your career or your social status or how people are seeing you versus your home and family and your emotions. There's some type of merging that needs to be done there. Yeah, and so your natal Uranus is sextiling. Let's look at your natal Uranus that is sextiling here. Where is that? Um, your natal Uranus right here, sextiling your sextiling Saturn, right? So we had the 10th house in the Saturn. We had the Sun in your 10th house of career. Now we have Saturn, which is about your career, your ambition. It can be restrictions if we are not kind of, doing what we kind of should be doing here. Um, yeah, and so Uranus is sextiling here. This is um, I feel like this is showing you something. There's an opportunity here for you to build a career or make more money regarding creative pursuits. Definitely could be, right? Or it can be self-discipline and commitment to love or like self-commitment of your own for your own self-expression. It can have to do with love. It's a possibility here like because here Aquarius, this is actually Saturn's in your second house. Wow. And Uranus is in your fifth house. Interesting here. So second house is about money. It is related to the moon. It's about your money, your self-worth, the second house, your self-worth. And definitely, and this is the fifth house of love and self-expression here. There's an opportunity here for you to possibly really see your self-worth as this is the second house, or even earn more money here. It has to do with you being authentic to who you are, Aquarius, and your creative pursuits. It definitely does. And Saturn is here with Neptune. They're supporting one another, supporting your money, supporting your self-esteem here. Saturn is kind of putting this, there's an opportunity here, but you have to be realistic about something as well, as Saturn wants us to be realistic as it supports Neptune's visions of dreams about your money, about your financial stability. So you're going to have an opportunity to just kind of go with that. Yeah. All right. So let's move on now. And now we're going to do Pisces. All right. So for you, Pisces, the full moon is in your third house of the mind, information. Here you are, right here, right? And so the third house is here, where Taurus is, of course, right? But this is the house of information processing, intellect, conversations, anything to do with the mind. Also the voice, really, because, you're talking, right? Or if you're a podcaster or conversations, it's decisions. It's also learning, right? The third house of the mind, we like to call it that, or the intellect. And so this can be about your willpower, your plans and goals, anything that requires kind of brain power here. It's also about your siblings and the local community. It could be the neighborhood, it can be neighbors, and it can be, the local community in terms of travel, right? And, could be taking short trips or whatever is familiar to you as well. So that is the neighborhood or the community, things like that. It's also about siblings and extended family can be uncles and aunts and things like that. But yeah, it's a very important house. And so the third house for you, it is ruled by Venus, your third house. So that's interesting. So whatever decisions you make, you probably have love in mind when you're making decisions. That makes sense. I have a Piscean daughter completely, right? Love is, when you make your decisions, it's done with compassion, love, and also you're making it with stability. It could be. That's very interesting, right? Because Pisces is not usually so much concerned with stability, but during this, they're more dreamy, and they are so creative and compassionate, and they can be healers and things like that. They can be doctors, artists, and so, but your third house is ruled by Venus. And so here is the full moon, right? And this is opposing the ninth house. The ninth house is the house of Sagittarius. Yours is ruled by Mars because this is Scorpio. And so maybe there is something you are learning and you are putting together. The ninth house, you're merging, or you need to, because that's what the opposition between the sun and the moon is asking you, or kind of urging you to merge some qualities together that are helpful, right? Sometimes we don't just get it from the moon is subjective and emotional, and the sun is more, it's more masculine, a little less subjective. Yeah, the moon is very emotional. And that's what I mean by subjective, right? So here, the sun is in your ninth house, ruled by Scorpio. This is also ruled by Mars, but it's Scorpio here. And this is also why you're so intuitive, because the ninth house is about spirituality and faith. And this would make a lot of sense, right? Your first house is Pisces. This makes you guys the mystics. The ninth house is also the house of the mystic. Yes, it is. And the visionary, right? Vision in terms of visions and in terms of expansion. So there could be something that you really want to expand. I feel like you're learning something, Pisces, with the full moon. And the third house, this can you could be learning more about your own emotions here, and how to kind of maintain more, maybe more stability, or kind of self-esteem here, right? That could be because the Taurus, Venus wants us to have high self-esteem. It wants us to feel comfortable. It is about our possessions and the things we own and things like that, these earthly things that we own that provide comfort. So, but you're learning something here. It may have to do with um, your well-being here, your self-esteem. It definitely could, because Taurus rules that. And then this house over here, this sign over here, rather, is Scorpio. So, there could be something that you are seeing, um, with the full moon. And, I say that a lot because the full moon brings revelations and insights to us. So, we can see what's important, right? And so, it could be intuitive insights. Anything can happen with the full moon. And in Scorpio, you could maybe be learning something, maybe possibly through ninth house, through your visions, but also through just seeing what's been hidden to you, and it could have been hidden in your psyche. Those are the things that are the most important that we are able to see. So, could definitely be seeing something. And this can also be possibly about your values. I feel like it is. Um, in some regard, I'd have to see your chart, right? Your own natal chart. And so uh, the full moon is trining the south node in your opposite sign, Virgo. And the opposite signs are important, right? This is why we are showing, especially, during the full moon is showing us an opposition that is very important here, the sun and the moon. But these opposite signs are very important, right? And so it is. So let's look at the full moon here, and it is showing already trining the south node. And it's also sextiling the north node. So these are the lunar nodes, and those are really important during the full moon, right? Or during this lunation. So here we have in your seventh house the south node. It's in Virgo. So you're leaving things behind about relationships, or about how you approach relationships. You could be leaving behind wounds caused by relationships, could be in a past life as well, could be That's why if you get a past life reading, you'll understand, right? You'll understand much better about yourself at a very deep level. And yes, I do those, of course, right? But the South Node here in your seventh house of relationships, um, yeah, you're learning from something here. You definitely are as you evolve, right? The South Node is connected to our evolution. It is really the North Node that is more connected, but we need the South Node. We need it to show us the lessons that we need to learn, either from a past life or this life. And here's your North Node over here in your first house. So you're given an opportunity here with the full moon to move towards your higher self, really, your true potential. There's some wisdom gained here. There definitely is. And if you take this opportunity, right? It is the full moon is in the house of it's in the sign of self-esteem here, and you're probably understanding something or figuring something out here with the full moon that is helping you boost your self-esteem or your self-worth. You could be saying, well, I'm confident, I'm beautiful, and I'm smart and all this stuff, but everybody, and this is about evolution or evolving, right? Yeah, this is the North Node. So that's always a good thing. Yeah. And, you'd be surprised how old, the age of some people who are, finally really, really evolving, right? Yeah, I mean, I'm 64, so I can vouch for that. Yeah, we learn through our whole life, right? That's why we can never say, "Oh, I know it all," and all that. Being, no, there's always room for growth, right? Let's see what else we have here. But you're starting to follow your true path here when the full moon is sextiling. This is either an event or an opportunity for you if you take it. It turns into an event if you take it, right? If you see it, if you act on it. We're not always ready, but in this particular full moon, you look like you are ready to do that, right? As you try, the full moon is trining the south node of really, we could call it the south node of karmic lessons as well. So the trine is here, making things easier, helping us, supporting us. It is a flow, and you guys love the flow because you're a water sign. Um, yeah, and so with this trine over here to a Virgo and, to the sextile to Pisces, you're being asked to trust your intuition, especially with these sextile to Pisces and the moon. You're being asked that, Pisces. And so the sun, I talked about the sun opposing the moon, and Venus is in your eighth house of the occult. And where is Venus? It's in Libra. Here's Venus, and this is actually, yeah, it's your eighth house of the occult. Venus is here. This could be a hidden lover. It's possible, but this can manifest in many ways. But Venus is in its own sign, right? And this Venus is the ruler of the full moon that we have today. So here is Venus in your eighth house of the occult, intimate relationships. This is value. You're valuing yourself here, Pisces. You are, definitely here. Venus is about how we give and receive love, and it's also how we value ourselves, our relationship with money and the money we earn, and things like that. It's in the eighth house. There could be something you are seeing that has been hidden from you, and with your intuition, you're able to identify it, right? You could be you could be getting into a new relationship here. You could, Venus showing up here, especially with the full moon. Venus is in its own sign over here. And we have Venus that is squaring your Jupiter. Yeah, this is your natal Jupiter, and Jupiter is in your fifth house of self-expression and creative pursuits. This can be love, the house of love for you. The moon, Cancer rules that the moon, we could say, not necessarily this moon, but the moon in general, rules your fifth house, right? So Jupiter here is expansion and wisdom, and it is squaring, well, Venus is squaring it. Venus in your eighth house squaring the fifth house. This could definitely be about relationships. Oops, sorry, you guys. As Venus is relationships, the eighth house is, yeah, and so is the fifth house. This is the house of love. This could be, this square could be kind of prompting you, Pisces, to follow your wisdom. Just follow it here, and trust in your own self-expression, your maybe your creative pursuits. But this is your natal planet, and so you're being asked to either trust your creative pursuits. There's something that is pushing you here that is bothering you here. It could be about a job. Sometimes the eighth house is about money, and Venus is about money as well. So there's something that you are feeling some type of inner tension here, but this square will eventually manifest into something good for you. Yes, it will. So the square is causing tension for you to take action on something, either related to love, money, your expansion, your forward, and it can also be about maybe you are possibly trying to learn something here, but I feel like this is more about your life path and what you want, what is meaningful for you in this life. I feel like you're learning, you could be learning here um, also, kind of a difficult lesson, yeah, with Venus here squaring Jupiter. Could be a lesson of possibly about self-worth, but um, but there is wisdom that you are kind of really need to pay attention to and act on that wisdom when we see this here. And this is in Jupiter in your fifth house is supporting your creative pursuits, your artwork, anything you're creating. It doesn't always have to be artwork, right? Family, and when I say it's in Cancer too, it's also supporting your um, you know, the fifth house, parents and children, that is also family, but it could be the teaching of children as well. It's possible here. Um, yeah, and so now let's see what else we have. And Venus is squaring Pluto. Let's look at that here. Um, yeah, Venus is here and is squaring Pluto. Pluto is in your 12th house of endings. Pluto is about our power here. This could be power in a relationship, as it is the squares from the eighth house of intimate relationships, right? And so, and this is about love and money. In Libra here, this is you're kind of being pushed about some type of a relationship that maybe needs to profoundly change. There could be a relationship too that where there's power struggles. That's a possibility here. And you're letting something go. You're being told to let something go. I feel like this could definitely have to do with, once again, like self-esteem, money, or relationships. But Pluto in the 12th house is transformation. So you're being pushed to transform something or allow it to change profoundly. And I feel like it probably does have to do with relationships. Pluto's also about intimate relationships. And here's Libra in the eighth house of those intimate relationships. Yeah, I feel like you're letting old patterns fall away with Pluto. Pluto is transforming here in the 12th house, letting things go. Um, right? It could be related to friends or social groups, possibly, or your identity with some type of groups or friendship. Um, but this 12th house here, there is definitely something that is transforming. And this is also about your power, most likely in a relationship. You could be taking your power back in a relationship and feeling very kind of liberated. It is here in Aquarius. Aquarius is about, it can be about our freedom and our liberation and doing things that are, kind of whatever is authentic to us. Aquarius is the eccentric and the authentic. Yeah, and so your natal Jupiter, I was talking about that, was being, yeah, squared by Venus. And I feel like what this is to sometimes this Venus square to Jupiter, it can be really enjoy yourself, right? It can. This is the fifth house of enjoyment right here. Jupiter is here in Cancer. It could be, but don't overdo it. Sometimes, especially with Jupiter, right? Pisces. Yeah, I'm not trying to pick on Pisces for sure. But Jupiter here is your natal planet, and Jupiter is also the planet for Sagittarius. But Jupiter wants everything to be big and expansive and dynamic, right? And adventurous to a certain, right? There's all this enthusiasm, but sometimes we can get carried away. It's in your house of fun. So Yeah, be careful with that. And Venus is down here in your eighth house of intimate relationships, and this it's possible here there's something hidden here that is kind of pushing you, maybe something that you're hiding, but it could be something that is definitely pushing you to allow change, and for you to take action on something. Yeah, this can be also be follow your wisdom here, about yourself, right? This is the fifth house of self-expression. Follow your wisdom. Keep going. Keep, the good fight every day, about expanding your own life, right? And it can have to do with relationships. You might have learned something here. Something could have been revealed to you in the eighth house about them. All right. And all right, enjoy yourself. Thank you so much for watching. Please like, share, and subscribe. It really does help me with the channel because I need 1,000. I'm, striving for 1,000 subscribers, but more importantly, the 4,000 watch hours. Yeah, not minutes, watch hours. Thanks so much, you guys, and I'll see you in the next video. If you like a psychic reading with me, check out the description box. Everything is down there. Thanks so much, you guys.